We're back to Neil Haley Show, and I'm excited to welcome actor Mika Abdalla. How are you, Mika? Thanks for stopping by. And you have a very interesting career leading to where you are today. Wouldn't you say it's been a journey?
Yeah, it definitely has been.
It's something like, for example, how you started out in the entertainment industry. It was a pretty young age. Kind of describe how that happened.
Yeah, I was like 5 or 6, super shy, only child. My mom was like, "You need to get out into the world somehow." And yeah, there was like an open casting call for a local parenting magazine um, at my dentist's office, and my mom took me there, and I did it, and I loved being in front of the camera. I loved being on set. So my mom was like, "All right, whatever," and found me an agent, started doing commercials and stuff, and now we're here.
No, absolutely. So let's talk about, what was your big break? Was it definitely Project MC2 was the first real break you had?
Yeah, yeah, MC squared was probably like my my first like real big thing. I had done a bunch of indie movies, and I did an American Girl doll movie when I was like 11. But
Oh,
yeah, no,
really?
that was my first like big girl job, real job.
So, but even before that, what did you think got you the auditions and had the opportunity? Did you think you were a knack at this as a child actor in certain aspects, getting things like the American Girl doll deal or just commercials or
Yeah,
whatever?
I think when you're like a young kid, it's easy to just kind of get lucky because if you as long as you can like memorize lines, you'll work when you're young, and then once you get to be 10, 11, 12, they really like kids that have worked before. They know that they know how to be on set, and yeah, and so I think I just got really lucky when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10, getting kind of things on my resume and getting some credibility in on the smaller end of the film world. And yeah,
Oh, it sounds like it. I mean, that's the thing. So memorizing your lines. I know, like, I can memorize all day long, like notes and things like that. When I went to undergrad and grad school, memorize so many pages. But I think it's so hard to not just memorize, but then regurgitate it in a way
yeah,
versus you have to
yeah,
regurgitate it by writing it down.
yeah.
How
I
are
used
how are you able to
to
do that?
my
Like, how do you memorize your lines and do it so well?
yeah, I used to read my lines before going to bed. That's how my mom was like, she thought like if we read the sides before bed, like it would somehow stick better in my head. I don't know. Um, so yeah, we did do that. I did do that, but no, now it's kind of now I don't know. I just retain it. I really don't know.
And how many lines do you have to retain? Let's just say, I guess it's going back and forth. So you got to remember what someone else said if it's definitely a back and forth conversation, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, no, I mean, you really just you memorize your own thing. I don't know. I don't even know how it works. Honestly, at this point, I just like read sides over and over and over again and read them out loud, and then eventually I've got it. I mean, when you're working on set, you know, the most amount of pages you'll have in a day is like 8, and not all of those are your lines unless you're leading the film or it's like some crazy sequence of something. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's especially when you're running the lines with your co-stars and stuff. It gets pretty easy. It gets pretty like things come to you quick.
See, I auditioned once before, like, for something, and I was just absolutely terrible of memorizing lines. I'm just like an impromptu. I was getting ready to set something up for my documentary. I'm making a comeback into professional wrestling at 51, and my filmmaker says, "Go ahead, read these questions." And I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. I like just to just go off the cuff. I don't know why that's me. I guess
Yeah.
that acting won't be my thing. I'm more of a performer than an actor. Ways like I don't like I just like to go with it, and I usually say it way
You know
better,
what?
you know?
And that's totally fine. That's totally fair.
Okay. All right, let's talk about your latest project. You gotta be really excited that's gonna be on Paramount.
Yeah, Snack Shack. Super excited. Um, yeah, it's a really fun kind of reminiscent of the you know 80s and 90s coming of age movies little film, and um, it was a lot of fun to do, and it's been a lot of fun to watch over and over again these past few weeks while we're promoting it. And yeah, it's about these two kids that these two young boys, best friends that bid on the snack shack at the pool and try to make some money over the summer. And I'm the girl who kind of moves to town and shakes things up for a couple months. And yeah, it's cute, and I think it's something that that all audiences can relate to. It's set in the '90s, and it's about high schoolers, but everyone's had that experience. They have a crush on the same person as their friend, or their first, you know, someone they like doesn't is giving them mixed signals, or whatever it may be. Like everyone's had that kind of awkward 14, 15-year old shift in socialization. And yeah, so I think it's really cute. It's a really cute film, and I'm really excited for everyone to see it.
Absolutely. How did you prepare for the character?
Um, I mean, Adam, our director, flew us all here a couple days earlier, actually a couple weeks early, to prep. And so we really just like walked around town and we lived the lives of the characters. We swam at the pool. You know, we went to the theater. We did all the stuff that our characters were doing in the movie, which is really what Adam wanted. He didn't want it to seem like he didn't want it to feel like we were acting, obviously. But yeah, it was a very important film to him. It's loosely based on his childhood, and so he wanted us to just come from as authentic of a place as possible. And so that's what we did. That's what we tried to do.
It's definitely, interesting, and you talk about the '90s. What types of retro '90s stuff is in the film that can remind me? I'm more of an '80s person, but again, I remember a
Yeah.
lot of the '90s too.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of old cars. There's a lot of I carry around a film camera. My character carries around a film camera the whole movie. The fashion is very 90s. Um, I think AJ's the main character's parents are very 90s. The home is very 90s. The movies are very 90s that we're referring to and watching. The music is super 90s. It's a big throwback.
Very, very cool. Do you have a favorite '90s song?
Um, Man, tough. I've been the Age of Consent, New Order, Age of Consent is in the film, and so I feel like I've just had that stuck in my head for the last several weeks. So I've been listening to that a lot.
And it's interesting to think about going back to the '90s for me, or even the time, like, how we're so connected in so many different ways. If I could talk to my '90s self when I graduated from high school in 1991, I would say to myself, and then go on to college and say, "This is how we lived compared to how we live now." You know? And I guess those kind
Yeah,
of movies really make people reminisce about specific things and say, "Oh, I remember when," or a song comes out and just different things, and you're saying, "Okay." I'm sure you have songs that remind you of specific times in your life for sure.
yeah. I mean, it's you know everyone. I think for my character specifically, how I kind of connected to it was like I I've had those like I called them vacation boyfriends. So I talked to the director a lot about it. And these people that you kind of meet and you know that you're only going to be around for a couple months or a couple weeks. Maybe you see someone cute at the pool, on vacation with your family, or even like you know in acting, like we go on location and we shoot for 10 weeks at a time, and you become super close to all the people that you're working with, and then eventually you have to leave and you don't know if you'll ever see them again. And some of the people, are your close friends and you keep in touch with, or you don't. So I think that's what I relate to the most in this film, is kind of like just soaking in the time that you have with the people that you're around for the time that you're around them. Because, you know, especially if you're in the industry, or you're, a military brat, or, whatever, like, just because you've only been around someone for a couple of months doesn't take anything away from the importance of that friendship.
So, any other, projects happening for you right now that you like to promote?
No, I mean I'm really just promoting this film, and the strike just ended, so things are kind of slow and getting ramped back up, and I'm just excited to find my next project.
They're coming. That's what I'm hearing. Renaissance. That's what I was hearing. I'm hearing from, because I talk to different actors all the time. And again, I'm looking at creating a movie with the Road Warriors about their life with Chris Mulkey, and all these different projects are happening. And I'm like, okay, it's time, right? We got to get content back into the streaming networks, more and more shows, different things. And it'll be a great time with everything being released and new projects coming. 'Cause I know that must have been a hard time
Yeah.
during the strike, and now you got yourself back and rolling, and it's exciting.
Yeah. No, it is very exciting, and this is it's a very cool way to kind of jump back into things. Hopefully it does a lot for Connor. Hopefully it does. I mean, Gabe doesn't need Gabe doesn't need it. Hopefully it does a lot for me. I think we're really excited that this is how we kind of get to get back to work.
Alright, Miko, best place people can connect with you and stuff, where can they go?
I'm really just on Instagram, Mika Abdalla. Not huge on social media, but yeah,
Alright,
you can find
well,
me.
appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much. Great
You're
talking to
wel
you.
you too, bye-bye. You're listening and watching The Neil Haley Show, and we'll be back in just a moment.